Yeah, let's get to a little college football here. Dustin, did Ohio State
Help me wake up here.
get an appropriate, or let's just say this, did Ohio State get a fair or unfair draw in the college football playoff bracket?
Shoot, they're lucky to be in this thing.
Heck yeah.
You kidding me? Lucky to be in this thing.
Yeah.
Are there any Ohio State fans whining about their spot?
Oh, they whine about everything.
Oh, my God.
They're mad that they have to play Oregon in the second round if they beat Tennessee in the first round.
Oh, come on.
Everybody knew that was going to happen.
Yeah.
What? You can beat Oregon.
Oregon ain't that
They
cold.
should have beat Oregon
They should have
the
beat
first
them
time.
at their place. Now you're going to play them at the Rose Bowl.
Yes.
Like,
This thing
let's
wa-
worry about beating the Volunteers.
Right.
Okay? Because that's a damn good football team. A team I thought prior to the season beginning. I did their spring game, in fact. I fell in love with their roster. Their quarterback's great. Young, but a good player. So do they have a bad draw? I don't know. I mean,
Everybody on that board is beatable.
I'll tell you one thing right now. I'd rather if I'm Ohio State, I'd rather play Oregon than Georgia.
But
At
you'd
this
rather
point-
play Penn State or Arizona State, right?
Say what now?
You'd rather play Penn State or Arizona State than Oregon.
Or Boise
Yeah, of
State.
course. But I'm saying like I'd
Yeah.
rather like to get to the semis, you're gonna have to
Yeah.
get through a good team.
That's true. By the way, I thought this was a very funny line. I don't know who put it out there, but they said, if the bronze medal were a football team, it would be Penn State.
Yeah.
Pretty
Yeah.
accurate.
Yeah. I mean, just
Oh, they got a great draw. I thought
By
Penn
the
State
way,
got a good
Beautiful
draw.
draw.
This, I didn't realize this. I guess I should have been more up on this. The fact that the top four conference finishers get an automatic top four seed is so dumb.
it is silly that like Boise State's gonna.
It should
get a
guarantee
bye.
you a spot in the playoffs.
Yeah.
It
Right.
shouldn't guarantee you a top four seed. That makes no sense. Mike, if you put up the bracket again, can you put it up again?
Yeah, 1 sec.
Boise State feeling good about themselves.
Yeah.
Well, not just Boise State, also
Arizona.
Clemson.
Arizona State.
Well,
Not
I'm
Clemson.
sorry, not Clemson. Arizona State. Yeah, like that's ridiculous.
I mean, if you,
It's so if you're Oregon, or if you're Oregon, you have to play either Ohio State or Tennessee in the next round. I don't know.
It's a bad draw.
Meanwhile, Texas gets to play Clemson and then Arizona State.
What 4 teams should have the bye, Dustin?
The 4 teams that should have the bye, man, that's a
Shouldn't it be Texas?
obviously Oregon.
Yes.
They're unblemished.
Right.
Yes.
Definitely
And
Georgia.
Georgia. Georgia won the SEC.
Georgia
Shouldn't
won
Texas-
the SEC. I mean, well, Texas was runner-up in the SEC, 2 losses. Ohio State, 2 losses. Didn't go to the title game. I mean, I don't know who else does. I mean, I don't think Boise should have a bye.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I think that they're
I can't make an argument for another team, but I don't like Boise getting a bye either.
I was shocked, guys, that SMU got in over Alabama.
I
was too. I was also very happy to see
It's
it.
the
I
right
did
call.
too. I did too.
Is
because
it?
it's the right
Yes.
call.
Yeah.
They,
Yes.
Dude, Adam, SMU has 2 losses. They went to the conference title. They lost
Right.
the conference title to another team that's in the playoffs. And you're
But he's
talking.
not that great either.
Look,
And they lost what, one game?
they lost 1 game.
But here's the catch-22.
Well, Clemson has 2 losses.
It's tough either way, right? Because if you would have booted out SMU, you're penalizing them for making their championship game, which is unfair.
Here's all I'm going to say
but
about
Alabama
this.
played a much tougher schedule than SMU, didn't they?
First off, Alabama lost to Vanderbilt.
Yeah, that's it.
All right.
Done.
Fair.
And they got
And they got their doors blown up by Oklahoma.
Yeah.
So I don't want to hear
Trash.
crap about Alabama. They have 3 losses.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with
See
you
ya.
100%.
Yeah.
Enjoy the ReliaQuest Bowl.
There it is.
They're relying Quest Bowl.
By the way, good matchup, Michigan and Alabama.
And that is our UCSS college football analyst, Dustin Fox, with his
But,
hot takes of the week. Brought to you by Red Hot.
Why is Indiana
Yeah, Frank's right.
whining about not having a home game? They
Because
haven't beaten
Kurt Cignetti
right?
whines about everything.
Is Indiana have the worst strength of schedule or the worst strength of victory of any team in this tournament? Or no?
I'm sure Boise State probably has a worse just based off the conference.
As
I don't know
Boise,
for a fact.
but Boise State finished what? 11-1, 12-1.
Yeah, their only loss was Oregon.
So Indiana's 12-1. Who's Boise State's best win?
I'm pulling up the schedule right now.
UNLV. No, well, they lost to Oregon by 3 points on the road week 1.
That was
Remember
kinda
that.
wild.
So
Yeah.
their loss is to Oregon.
The top, yeah.
Right
You're
now,
right.
Indiana's only losses to Ohio State, but they didn't play.
But they got smoked twice.
They got smoked in that game.
UNLV is the only
Indiana's
other
not a
ranked
conference
team.
title. It doesn't have
Right.
a conference title. Sorry.
What's that, Mike?
UNLV in the Mountain West
was the
Conference
best.
Championship was the only other ranked one they had this.
So has Indiana beaten any ranked teams?
Let me pull it up.
They didn't
I
play
can't remember
Penn
who was
State.
ranked when they played them.
What's Indiana's best win?
Michigan.
Yeah, I mean,
Michigan sucks.
Indiana
Beat
beat
Ohio
the
State.
season.
They didn't play Penn
Indiana
State, did they?
beat who?
No, they did not.
Indiana's season, real quick. They beat Florida International. They beat Western Illinois. They beat UCLA at UCLA. They beat Charlotte. They beat Maryland. They beat Northwestern. They beat Nebraska. They beat Washington. They beat Michigan State at Michigan State. They beat Michigan. They lost to Ohio State, and they beat Purdue 66-0.
Are any of those teams they beat better than UNLV, Dustin?
Oh, that's a good question. UNLV's a good team. Like Michigan's going to beat UNLV if they play.
They just lost their coach, didn't they?
UNLV.
Yeah.
They
So
did,
you
I
think
believe
Michigan's
so.
better than UNLV?
Michigan's better than a lot of teams, dude.
How are they 7-6?
'Cause they can't score points. But I mean, like on any given Sunday or Saturday,
Yeah.
when you play against Michigan, like that's going to be a really tough game.
What was the Indiana killed Michigan, didn't they?
No, they won by 5, 20-15.
Here's the way I look at it. If you're a top flight team and you upset that one of the mid majors got like a bye, go smoke them.
Well, Indiana's mad. They have to go to Notre Dame. They didn't think they were going to get a bye. They wanted a home game. They're upset they didn't get a home game.
Right,
Nah.
they were pissed they weren't 5-8. But
listen,
who should they be over?
bro? You're in the dance, bro.
Who should they be ahead of? Should they be ahead of Ohio State?
No,
I
they
don't
lost
think
to them.
so, but
You lost to
that's
Ohio
the
State.
committee,
I
yeah.
mean, you know what
Hey,
should they be ahead of Notre Dame?
Kirk Cignetti said, and he's the Indiana coach, he goes, our loss was on the road at Ohio State.
And they're going to
They got
compare the
smoked.
NIU
Notre
loss,
Dame's, Notre
at
Dame's
home.
only loss was at home to Northern Illinois.
Is Northern Illinois really bad?
They're an okay MAC
They're
team,
good
dude.
MAC
They're
team.
not. They're a MAC team.
Who's Northern? Who? You can't. But when you get smoked, if you're Indiana, I don't care if it's a better loss. You got smoked. If they had lost the tight battle to Ohio State, then I think that argument carries
you
more
can't.
water.
If you didn't win your conference, you can't complain about not getting
Right.
no home game.
And who-
you didn't win your conference, though.
Who's Notre Dame's best win against?
They beat A&M at A&M. They beat Louisville, who was ranked 15th. They beat Navy. They beat Army. They beat USC. They
Army
play,
won the.
They play an
They
ACC
won the American-
schedule
yeah.
plus
Yeah.
USC and
So
Texas A&M.
they have better wins than Indiana.
Notre Dame's a damn good team. They deserve a home game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They have 4
Indiana
ranked
didn't deserve a
wins.
home game.
And
They
I
do
don't-
not deserve a home
Screw
game.
Indiana.
And I don't like the coach saying you should got a whole. His mind should be on. We better get our ass together
That's
and
true.
get ready to go to Notre Dame
Like
and play.
the coach whining now is like bad.
You can't.
Because now the players they're thinking, oh, we got robbed and blah blah blah.
And you don't want to have that. We just happy to be here.
What are the spreads on the first round games, by the way?
Which game you want to know?
All of them. I'm curious.
Ohio State's favored by 7.5. Penn State's favored by 8.5. What's the other game? Clemson.
Indiana, Notre Dame.
Notre Dame 7.5.
Yeah.
And then what's the other one? Clemson.
Clemson and Texas.
Clemson, Texas.
Clemson-
Texas be favored.
Texas is favored by I think 11.
11.
Wow.
Yeah.
I got
All
it
right.
right here, yeah. 11.
So Texas is the most or Clemson is probably the least likely to win, right, in the first round. Of the other 3 games, Indiana at Notre Dame, Tennessee at Ohio State, and what's the other one?
SMU, Penn State.
SMU at Penn State. Who's-
SMU has no chance, I don't think.
no chance.
Well,
Wow.
okay, I shouldn't say no chance.
a
Who is the most likely for
Who's
an
most
upset?
likely to pull an upset?
Tennessee.
Tennessee, you think?
I think it's Tennessee.
Yeah.
Well, Indiana could upset
Indiana's
Notre
good,
Dame.
though. Indiana's good.
Yeah, but I think
Hey,
Are they?
Yeah,
They
they're-
are good.
They
They
are
are
good.
good.
what
yes.
is where is Ohio State's players' heads right now?
Great question. Great question.
That's why I think it's
Yeah.
Tennessee.
Their backup quarterback's leaving, right?
Yeah, entering the portal after the.
There's just been so much turmoil since the Michigan game ended
They got-
that I don't know where the focus is
That's
at
right.
for those guys.
That's
And for
exactly right.
Tennessee,
Yeah.
they've been thinking about this for the whole time. They once they knew they weren't going to the SEC championship, they're like, okay, well, it's on to the
this
playoffs.
is-
Tennessee could easily come into Ohio State and
this
win
is
that
a
game.
very.
The playoffs should be good, right? I mean, it
This
should
is
be
a
good competitive
very
games.
nice game. I like seeing these non-traditional matchups. Ohio State, Tennessee, like
could be in the snow.
first round playoff
Yeah, well,
games.
you think
this.
Ashton Genty's good? Wait till you see Dylan Sampson.
Yeah.
For Tennessee.
Yeah.
He's
Wait,
the
he's
best
better?
running back in America no one talks about. Well, people do talk about if you watch Tennessee,
nice.
but
Tennessee really
they're nice, man. Their quarterback
Nice.
is a
Nico's legit.
slim reaper, dude.
Legit.
And then they got that wide spread. They got their
I hate that offense.
They got their receivers lined up in the stands. You talk about having a lot of space and movement. They get you in the middle of the field. Run
Josh
that little,
Heupel.
yeah.
When you
that-
talk about Ohio State seeding, though, should they be where Penn State is because they beat them head to head? I know they got an extra loss, but they beat Penn State.
I don't
head-to-head.
think so. Penn State made the conference championship.
Yeah,
they
title.
played
I
well.
agree, but I think you can make a case that we beat them head to head. Why are we
Yeah.
below that?
I think Penn State gonna lose.
To SMU.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
yeah. I think they lose.
You think Penn State loses to SMU?
Yeah.
I don't know, dude. I'm sorry.
They played good against Oregon.
That Clemson game hurt. That
That's
hurt
like the
SMU.
first time I really watched a lot of SMU,
Right.
and I'm like, yeah, this team may not
Like,
do well against
they-
Penn State. Penn State's a really good team
At home.
especially in a game like this.
At
Penn
home.
State will win this game by 30. I'm not saying they'll win by 30,
Then
but
they'll
this is
get
a game they
smoked.
should win by 30.
By the way, McNuggets is talking himself into drafting Aller, right?
Drew Aller.
Yeah.
I'm rooting for Boise State in the tournament. I hope they win it all.